In this video, I am going to walk you through all of the essential features you need to know in order to use Claude Code. These are going to include the basic commands in the CLI, where to find the most basic features, the settings, and stuff like that. Let's start with the basic accessibility of all the commands. Usually, you can fire open Claude in your project folder, whatever you're working on, and start prompting right away, but you can use the slash to access all of the slash commands, init, and usage, and privacy settings, and MCPs, and plugins, and skills, and all the things. 90% of Claude Code settings are accessed right there. And we're gonna go over a few of these in details because you'll be using them a lot. However, let's skip to the very end of my notes today, the .claude folder. Remember from a previous video that you can access more settings in the .claude folder, which can either be on the user level. Here I am at my user, I'm on Mac.claude, and then there are, well, there's a bunch of things for one, but also the settings.json is where you might be going into to tinker with some hooks and plugins and that sort of stuff. That said, you can also do it on a project level. .claude, this is in a Flutter app here. Yours might be empty right when you set up Claude. That's okay. I have a bunch of sub-agents that I've created for this project and a skill, it looks like. And the settings.local.json file. This is only applying these settings to Claude Code right here on my local machine in this project. We're not going to go through this specific file right this second, but I just wanted to let you know you can find some settings, and you'll see more throughout the next couple of videos, in the .claude folder. All right, let's chat models, the actual AI models, /model, I believe. You can select between Anthropic's 3 core models. Opus, the slowest one, but also the best one, usually. Sonnet is a happy medium. Then Haiku is their very fast one, but also, not the most powerful model, if you will. These also use different amounts of tokens, just so you know. I use Sonnet for 90% of everything in Claude Code. Unless I'm having a really bad issue trying to fix a certain bug or something's just really not going well in Claude Code, I might bump it up to Opus. There you go. Some people swear you should use Opus for planning and then Sonnet for implementing, or vice versa. It's also worth noting, you can choose to use a different model for a sub-agent. For example, you could use Sonnet right here in the Claude Code terminal, but you could have a sub-agent for searching your project folder and file. Like, that's a thing that Claude Code does all the time. It goes and looks at your various files and folders and stuff. Well, maybe you don't need Opus for that. You could have that sub-agent use Haiku just to be a little bit faster, and it probably doesn't need the expensive models, and it'll save you some tokens right there. All right, let's chat about modes. There are 3 Claude Code modes on which to operate. Normal mode, where Claude Code will not automatically write to the files. It'll do its work, but whenever it wants to make a change in an actual file, it will ask your permission first. Could be handy, right? Want to make sure Claude Code's doing the right thing. Another mode, and you can press Shift-Tab. I didn't mention that. Shift-Tab, even while Claude Code is running, to cycle between these 3 modes. The second mode is exactly what it sounds like, except edits on. That means Claude Code will mostly, not entirely, but mostly automatically change the files. It'll just go and do its own work automatically. Sweet, right? Well, sometimes it'll still need permissions for various bash commands, terminal commands, or some other stuff, just to let you know. But for the most part, it does its work. It writes to files automatically. Woohoo! Yay, AI. The last mode here is planning mode, and this is quite different. This, will not write to files. It won't actually automatically go and do the work. It uses specific sub-agents, actually, not even sub-agents that you created, but sub-agents that came automatically inside Claude Code for planning. It'll take a step back. It'll take its time. It'll think. It'll be more objective, and it will create an implementation plan for whatever you prompted it for, the feature, your product, or whatever. And at the end of that, it'll ask you, hey, give me some feedback on this plan, or if you want me to go ahead and do it, there's like a little button for like auto accept edits on, or whatever that is, and then it'll go. Planning mode. Now, really quick, for most people, I don't recommend using planning mode. I explain why in this next video. But if you're a complete and total beginner, you're not a developer, you've never done this before, yeah, if you're building something, maybe you can try out planning mode. It's generally a good decision. For everybody else, I'm going through this workflow in the next video, right? I recommend this for 99% of people, for sure. Now let's chat about giving Claude Code context. The cool thing about Claude Code is you give it a prompt to go and build something or go and fix something or something. I don't know. It will go and look for context all by its lonesome, baby. It'll figure out, hey, it wants me to do this. Let me first check out that file. That file references this other file, this other component or something. Let me go check that one out. It'll go and do its research to gather context. But, A, that uses a lot of tokens, although it really doesn't matter, to be frank. But you can actually specify context in a few different ways. Number one, the @ sign, the @ symbol. Here in the terminal, you can just press @ or you might say, hey, do this, check out the file, and then hit @ and then if you hit space or if you start typing, it'll usually pull up this guy and you can use the arrow keys to navigate your code base. Or you can just start typing out the file, which is, I have no idea. Let me just start. Yeah, okay, I do have a plan.md. I added a plan.md file, which is the plan for this app, by the way. So I found it right here. It's highlighted at the very top of this thing I'm typing at. I hit enter to autocomplete that. And now it will for sure look at this file. I don't want to leave anything to chance. I want to make sure it checks out this file, this component, this folder. You can just tag entire folders there and it'll sort through it. This is super helpful, right? Saves tokens, first of all, so it doesn't have to go look. It's still going to go look for other files, by the way, but it can save tokens. But even more than that, it makes sure the AI has the additional context it needs. You specify it right there. Also, images. You can straight drag and drop images in here. I don't even know what this is, by the way. There you go. Image number one. I wish it gave you like a teeny tiny preview. Might be a little helpful, but whatever. You can also copy an image and then paste it in here with Control V on Mac or whatever the equivalent is on Windows. And you can ask it things. Hey, analyze this image I took of the error. I took a screenshot of the error. Analyze the image and fix it, right? Or hey, I'm stealing this UI from some other app and I just took a screenshot of it. You can analyze this and then translate this into CSS or Tailwind CSS or make my UI look like this or whatever, right? Hey, add more padding here. Hey, why is this spacing weird? Hey, do this, do that through images. That's cool. You should do it more often. We should all do it more often. It's actually really powerful. Okay, let's talk about the compact feature. In a previous video, I showed you this. This was a conversation with some coding and maybe I fixed a bug or two. I don't know. This entire conversation right here, I ran /context and it showed me that I'm about 26% of the way through my maximum token limit for the context window. The context window is all of this data points, the context that the AI has. I'm at like 52K tokens out of 200. Well, what happens when you get to 97%, 98%? You're about to literally run out of space in this conversation. Well, Claude Code automatically runs compact. And you can read what it does right here. It clears the conversation history, so it starts over from scratch, basically, but with a small summary of this entire conversation. It compacts it into, I don't know, 20,000 tokens, 30,000 tokens, or something like that. And it starts a fresh window with this as context. You might think that sounds pretty sweet, but I'm telling you right now, and I'm gonna show you in the next video, you should probably never be at that point. I don't think Claude Code does very good work. When you're at like 70, 80, 90% of your context window, that's a lot of information that Claude Code is trying to process in order to give you a good code output. It doesn't work that well. So you should never really be at that point. So you can change this in the settings. You can go do /config or /settings, should bring it up. And I believe it's, there it is. Auto compact, you can see mine's set to false. You can toggle it to true if you want to. I just leave mine on false. One really very quick note. If you have this on, it will reserve some tokens, even if it doesn't use compact, the auto compact. Meaning if you have it on and you start a brand new conversation window, it's gonna eat up like 20 or 30K tokens. It's not a big deal. It doesn't cost you anything really, but I always just leave it to false. I never go past like 50, 60, 70% of my context window. We'll go through that in the next vid. Next up, the double escape. This is mondo important. When you use Cursor or Windsurf or some other IDE, agentic coding agent, you set a prompt, the AI does work, and there's a button at the bottom that's like, keep these changes or undo. Undo. There's no undo button in Claude Code until now. This is actually a recent development, like a month ago. I don't know why they didn't have this from the beginning. When Claude Code does coding, there is a way to just undo everything it just did. Maybe not your entire conversation, your entire like context window, everything it's done. Maybe just that one last little bit of code it did. The way to do this is double escape. I think there's actually a command rewind maybe? It might be rewind, I don't know. You can also just hit escape twice, like this. Boom. And now you can navigate, you can actually see the green and red numbers here to see this one, there were no code changes, but these, it was some 66 deletions and then 152 additions. There was actual code. You can go back to any point in your conversation, your current conversation, and either number one, I'm just gonna press this, restore code and conversation, or just either one of those. Meaning if you just wanna go back in the conversation, but you don't actually wanna undo the code, well then you click restore conversation. Or you could do restore code and conversation and literally just go back in time. You will use this quite a bit. You'll have Claude Code do something, good, it worked. It did code, it worked, we're good there. And then you'll do a follow-up, and then you'll do a follow-up, and this third follow-up stinks. You don't want that. How do I go back? Just one step. Just undo that last little round of whatever the code did, double escape. That's how we do that. Really quick, let's go through a bunch of the other ones. There's a ton of different slash commands you can explore, but these might be pretty handy, so I did want to just briefly run through them. There is a brand new, it's still in beta, Chrome extension, which will allow Claude Code to take over your tab, and it can test things and submit forms and look at the debug logs. I might do a separate video on this. Slash copy copies the last response to the clipboard. It's actually pretty handy. Same thing with export. Exports the current chat to a file. Slash help, exactly what it sounds like. Slash IDE, I've never actually ran this. It's supposedly to check on your status. Okay, well, it's not connected to anything. But if you're using Cursor or Windsurf or VS Code or something like that, and you have Claude Code connected, I don't know, run that. We'll see what happens. Key bindings, exactly what it sounds like. There's not a ton to really deal with, so I'm a key binding nut, and even I haven't really dived into Claude Code key bindings. Permissions manages which tools Claude Code will use. You actually saw this earlier in the video in my settings.local.json file. Permissions allow, and you can see which tools I have. I didn't actually code this, by the way. It was just by default, really. You can manage this through Claude Code in the permissions thing. Click that, and then you can actually tab over to the different workspace. And I'm not gonna go through this right now. It's a little advanced. You probably won't use this a lot, but just so you know, that is there. Rename, renames the current conversation. It's actually pretty useful. So you can come back to it later. If you know you're gonna pick up a conversation again later, it's worth renaming it just so you can find it. It's super helpful. Slash resume, I use all the time. All the time, that's how you go back to a previous conversation, slash resume. Here's a message, here's things. And you can actually do Control A to show all of them, which I'm not gonna do right now. Slash security dash review. This is like a separate coding feature. This will analyze all of your current changes from a Git perspective, like changes that have not been committed yet. I'm pretty sure this is how it works. It will analyze it from a security perspective. Super important for vibe coders, especially who don't know what you're doing when it comes to security. I totally get it. That's worth checking out. It for sure is, especially if you're a beginner. Before you push things live, maybe just spend a little bit of your tokens, run this, and see what happens. See what it spits back. You don't always have to change things right away. Some changes might be big, but it's worth running. Slash theme goes from light mode to dark mode, and there's one or two more accessibility options in there, I believe. Slash Vim toggles the Vim text editor in the terminal, which I personally can't stand. Never liked it, but you're welcome to. One other hot tip, Control L, at least on Mac, is how let's say you have like a million things pasted and typed in this prompt. Well, you can't select all to delete this entire thing. I'm hitting like Command A and it's not actually how it works. But you can just press Control L to very quickly delete everything in that current message. That's not Claude Code specific. You can do that in the terminal period. But I literally had to go Google that at some point. I was like, what is the command to like clear out my current thing? Well, it's Command L. You know the drill. You know the drill at this point. Drop me a comment in the chat with an emoji that sums up how you're feeling right now. I want to see it. Be goofy. You can also slam me in the comments if you think this is a dumb idea. I'm fine with that too. In the next video, I'm going to walk you through a workflow, as in, here's how I use Claude Code every time I use it for everything, right? I'm going to go through that, and we're actually going to do some coding in this coding course. Yay! So I'll see you in the next video. Drop me a comment with an emoji. See you there.